I didn't want to pick the bass up. I'm Thundercat, and I'm going to talk about some of my favorite bass lines. Once you choose the bass, then it's like the bass chooses you. The bass plays the role somewhere between melodic and harmonic and rhythmic. When you think of rhythm, you think of drums. When you think about harmonic and melodic, you think of piano. But it's the in-between of that, and it creates a bit of its own rhythm, and it carries its own melody. If you know a bit about it, then it becomes a lot of harmony. I think this was towards the end of D'Angelo's self-titled album. Or what was the name of that album? No, it was Brown Sugar, yeah. I would practice to this album, but there was like this one mistake that I would always make that I didn't realize. I spent a few years playing and touring with Raphael Saadiq, and that's Raphael Saadiq playing bass. I remember I was like, immediately where I walked into the rehearsal with him with a 5-string, he was like, absolutely not. You know, he's just like, you know, I had to play a 4-string. Every time we would play it, he'd be like, what the hell is going on with the song? And I'm like, I don't know, I listened to it and practiced it. I remember one time he took the bass from me and he showed me that there was nothing being played other than 3 notes. Boom, boom, boom. It's the part where the bass line is moving the way it is, and it's kind of driving. It's actually driving to the song, even though it's so simple. It's the actual statement of the song, and the guitar comes as a response to it a bit. And I was just like, no way, because I was just like, how does it feel sitting like that? This was like the beginnings of me learning about feel and like, you know, the importance of how things sit in a song and stuff like that. It took me a long time to, you know, really wrap my mind around the part where this guy's only playing 3 notes, but this song grooves so hard. And if your feel sucks, you just suck. Like, there's nothing you can do about that. It's like, for drummers, it's like an internal clock. It has to do with what your touch to your instrument, how you touch and feel. I think that's a hard line for a lot of musicians, because it's like, you just figure, you know, it shouldn't matter, but the truth is, you know, feel is one of the more important aspects of being a musician. If you don't feel right, you're getting fired. It's the truth. The thing that stood out to me about this bass line, you know, it's like the symmetry based on, like, you know, the era it comes out in, the 80s, and like, you know, synth pop and all that stuff. Everybody's trying to be robot-like. Funny thing is that I think it still freaks people out whenever a musician naturally arpeggiates something. And arpeggiation is basically like a step-ladder scale. It gets broken down into notes based on like quarter notes, 8th notes, 16th notes, 32nd notes, and stuff like that, but it becomes like a sequencing of those notes. I remember when I started listening to this record over and over and over again, and I realized what was going on between the synth lines. I like was blown away, because David Frank, it's like there's a moment in the song where it turns into this call and response within the bass line, between the singer and the bass line. Oh, you're in my system. Melodically, it's like it's got this weird, like, you know, jumping around like that between octaves. It almost made me crash my car a few times. It was like, oh my gosh, he's creating this weird conversation within the song. Marcus Miller, man, legend. Slapping the bass, it can be a treacherous area for a bass player, you know, where it's like, it can literally be considered mutiny or treachery if you start slapping bass. There's different styles that you can, from like everything from almost Spanish, like where you're playing with all of your fingers, you know, from that to like just traditional using 2 fingers. Marcus is one of the guys that defined what it is to slap bass like that. It's an iconic bass line. Everybody remembers when, you know, Snoop sampled this for G's and Hustlers.
It is me, you see, S-N-O-O-P, D-O-double-G-Y, the D-O-double-G.
That bass line, I feel like it's a staple, because it kind of transcended time by becoming something that Snoop sampled too. This is one of those moments where it was meant to be like the star of the story, I think. I remember Chris Dave told me when I was like, if you ever slap bass, he's like, I'm throwing my snare drum at you. He like forbade me from slapping bass. I think he still does too. You like, for like doing something, if we've ever been on the same thing, he'll like lean over and whisper my, he's like, you better not slap the bass. I think that this bass line is one of those ones that's like tasteful manner, you know. Yeah, Haboglabotribin makes you feel like you're supposed to be smoking a cigarette and flick it out the window, kick the door open. It don't matter if they start playing it, wherever it comes out. I don't care if the cops are standing there, I'm dancing.
Hello, my love, I heard a kiss from you. Red magic satin play.
A lot of my favorite records have, you know, Louis Johnson on them, you know, Michael Jackson stuff. The Brothers Johnson, the legendary group, of course. I feel like the bass line is definitely one of the reasons why it was a hit record. I feel like this song is just pimping incarnate. It's like if you ever wanted to know what pimping was, just play this song and just get you in trouble immediately. There's a way that Louis is playing this bass line where he's sliding into these notes in a certain way. And it's what's giving it this slinky feeling to it. That type of playing between the octaves of bass, that's like real 70s, like disco-ish, a way to keep the actual timing of the song is kind of going in this eighth notes kind of feel in the song, while the drums are going a slight, you know, like regular 4/4, it's giving it an eighth note feel. And again, percussive. It's a fine line between funky and just disaster. And you know, sometimes, you know, some cats like to take that risk. That's another one of those moments with slap bass where it's like, it's a percussive thing. You know, it's like, it's got a lot to it. It's a simple bass line, but it's been turned into like this motion that has become somewhere between the drums and, you know, the rhythm that it holds. And, you know, melodically, it has its own melody inside of what's going on. The tempo and everything and like the overall feel is kind of centered around that bass. The role of slap bass music is really controversial. There are some moments where I remember when I was younger where I would have conversations about this, like slap bass. I felt like talking about slap bass was like talking about like girls. You know, you're a teenager trying to figure out how to talk to girls, and it's like, it's like, what the hell is wrong with us? Like, you're sitting here wondering where we're supposed to slap bass at in the song. And it's like, I think you're supposed to do it when, like, you know, in this part of the song, because that place, nobody's paying attention there. And it's like, that's not why you do it. You know, you don't slap bass when nobody's paying attention. That's destructive. Like, why would you do that? I love that bass line, man. It's like, I don't even smoke cigarettes, but I just, these last two bass lines, it makes me feel like I'm supposed to be smoking a cigarette right now, with like a bunch of frills hanging off the bottom of my jacket. I'm with you, my love. That was Jack Bruce on bass. That bass line, there's again sliding a bit. You know, you can hear the sliding on that thing. It sounds like he's playing a fretless. It's one of those things, like, this bass line is iconic because a lot of the time I'm choosing these bass lines because of the simplicity of them. That's also becoming the driving force behind the song. Funny, even today in music, like when you listen to things like trap and stuff like that, the bass is still driving the song. It's just even more intense. It's like 808s. 808 is the actual frequency of a bass that's like more of a synthesized sound that you hear. Some actual stringed instruments can get there with that, but a lot of the time it's an electronic, like it's almost like a digit it's an analog, like it's a synthesized bass sound, or bass frequency. I'm not a scientist. But that's what it is. You know, what have we been listening to for the past 20 years is 808s. That's kind of where it's led us to. When you listen to like Future, when you listen to like Ray Shrimmer, you listen to like Post Malone. This is one of those driving bass lines that like you can't get away from, but it's simple. The guitar, you know, Eric Clapton's following him with it, but creating a bit more of the role of the harmonic by playing the progressions a bit, creating progression to it and all that stuff. But nonetheless, it's still following the bass line. It's just dope.
They say, is that really all you have?
Goodness gracious. As a bass line, that's insane. You know, of course, everybody knows at this point Larry Graham invented slap bass. This is like a known fact. If you didn't know Larry Graham invented slap bass, this is also Drake's uncle, for those who didn't know. I was always a Drake fan, but then when I found that out, I was just like, it don't matter. Like Drake was meant to do this. The way that this bass line is being danced around with the other instruments, it's like you could hear the puzzle happening. You could hear a puzzle in the song happening. Like, you know, it's like an engine. You know, with the engine, you can see each part moving and functioning a certain way. That's what this song feels like because of this bass line. Between like the keyboards and the guitar and the drums, the way the drums are hitting the hi-hat and like all that stuff. When you listen to the bass, it's one of those things where you're thinking that it's just like this, you hear this one part on top that boom, 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 or like there's a part where it's doing all this little boom, and it's like, you don't even realize it's happening. That's why it's so important to show you that he does that off the top. He shows you like, this is what I'm playing, and it's like a bit more than just what you're about to hear it in the song, because there's so many pieces that are fitting around it. The part where he's singing and slapping this on bass is like a miracle. Like, what the entire hell is going on, you know?
Even the blind can damn near see what's outside.
You spend time playing it, you know, and you go, oh, and then you start trying to find how to do that in other things, you know? Herbie's playing bass on synth, but Paul Jackson's playing second. There's two bass lines going at one time. So Paul's playing this percussive role on the bass, but playing it way higher up on the neck. And Herbie's playing actual, like, the holding down like the root of what's about to be played. The bass player is almost being like the percussionist. He's playing this real percussive part in between. Paul Jackson is one of my favorite bass players, hands down, because he knew that line and he would destroy it with Herbie. He would just be destroying with Herbie. But this is a guy that understood how to vacillate between the role of a bass player and a percussion player. It creates more rhythm. It almost goes very in line with, that's why I said percussive, somewhere between melodic and percussive is where it lies. Yeah, man. Jaco Pastorius, A Portrait of Tracy. That's a special bass line. This song is, he's doing everything at one time. He's doing melody, harmony, rhythm. Before this, nobody really, people probably messed around and tried to, you know, it's like his bass makes these weird noises and stuff. But Jaco, again, knew the role of everything like that and welded it so easily. It starts with, you know, it's like you can hear like the harmonics that he's doing. He's doing everything from false harmonics to actual harmonics on the bass. All along the neck, there's these different points of resonation that happen. It's almost like feedback. It creates a natural tone just by the slightest touch as compared to actually pressing down. So it's like almost between the frets. I didn't want to pick the bass up. So like, that's a false harmonic. You have natural ones, and then the ones that you can create are like, you have to create the halfway point between your fingers, like you can create it too, and that's a false harmonic. So he's using all of these different elements to create this melody harmony. So he starts with, right? And then the bass line is, then he's creating them. There's a false harmonic right there. Yeah, that's right. That's the melody and harmony happening. So it's like, he's doing it all on his own. And like in all these other songs that we've referenced, there are these moments where it's a part of something. It's always been like this role where it's gotta be fit into this motion or this like this engine or this locomotive thing. Jaco was introducing you to like, no, you are the locomotion. I love what's happening with music now, but a lot of the time, you know, it's like we look at these moments like what Jaco did and these other cats is so far off because of there being less knowledge or like a laziness or different things like that, which are also ultimately fine. But it's not, there's nothing wrong with wanting more. That's all these other guys did.